They replaced me in my own office with my cousin who doesn't even know how to open Excel. And when I walked in, my nameplate was already gone. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you're tired of fake family love and want real revenge satisfaction. Watch till the end. Every twist will make your blood boil. I didn't speak. I didn't scream. I just stared at the empty wall where my name once hung. Isla Morris, founder and CEO. Now it was just blank, cold. Like the people who once smiled at me during board meetings. My uncle leaned back in my chair, smirking like he'd just won the lottery. "You were too emotional for leadership," he said, sipping coffee I paid for, sitting in a room I built from scratch. I had started this business from my tiny kitchen, baking protein bars while juggling 3 part-time jobs. I skipped birthdays, skipped weddings just to build this company. And now they voted me out in silence. Even my little brother raised his hand. The worst part, they did it the day after I signed off a $2.3 million investor offer, an offer they knew nothing about. I didn't fight back, not yet. I simply said, okay, and walked out. But I didn't go home. I went straight to my lawyer, and 4 hours later, I quietly sold 51% of my shares to someone they all hated, their biggest competitor. The contract was sealed, and I was no longer just the founder. I was now their boss's boss. But the real fun started when their phones lit up at dinner. 69 missed calls, one after another. Chaos had only begun. My cousin, Mr. I don't need training, was standing at the whiteboard trying to spell strategy when the CFO burst into the room, pale as a ghost. "The board has been overridden," he whispered, holding his phone like it was on fire. "Isla just sold her shares to Apex Nutrition." The room went silent. Then all at once, shouting, chairs scraping, calls being made, emails being typed. But it was too late. Apex Nutrition, their sworn rival, now had majority control. And who did Apex name as acting chairperson? Me. Their jaws dropped lower than their stock price when I walked in with my Apex badge and said, "Should we continue this meeting, or would you prefer to be escorted out?" They tried to play calm. My uncle laughed, pretending like it was a prank. "Come on, Isla, this isn't personal, right?" "Oh, it's very personal," I smiled, "especially since you used my birthday celebration last week to hold a secret vote against me. You remember, right? The cake said, 'To the Queen of Clean Snacks,' right before you shoved me out like expired inventory." He looked like he'd swallowed a cactus. My cousin tried to speak, but I raised my hand. "You'll address me as Chairwoman Isla," I said. "Or not at all." Then I pulled out the surprise document, a clause from our original founding contract that nobody bothered to reread. One that gave the *** founding partner authority to fire any member involved in a hostile takeover. "I'm cleaning house," I said, "starting now." And just like that, ***, 3 board members were gone, ***, fired on the spot. Security entered. The family, who once told me I was too soft to lead, was now being escorted out by the people they once ordered around. But I wasn't done. I had one more name to cross off the list, someone who pretended to love me all these years, but stabbed me when I was at my highest. It was my little brother, Liam. The same Liam I once gave my savings to so he could start his tech course. The same Liam who used my laptop, my coffee machine, my apartment, and then used his vote to throw me out of the company I created. He stood there now, pretending to act surprised. "I didn't know they'd actually do it," he mumbled like a scared schoolboy caught cheating. "It wasn't meant to go this far." I walked over slowly. The room was dead silent. You knew exactly what you were doing, I said. You thought if I was out, straight, you'd rise. That I was in your way. I just wanted to matter, he said, eyes flickering. You were always the star. I leaned in, my voice cold. I made you matter, and you paid me back with betrayal. He looked down, ashamed. But shame doesn't fix betrayal. So I handed him a small brown envelope. Inside was a letter. Termination, effective immediately. Not just from the board, but from every internal system, every benefit, every stock tie. He wasn't just fired, he was erased. His face turned pale. Don't do this, he whispered. I'm your brother. No, I said, stepping back. You were my brother. Now you're just someone I once trusted. As security walked him out, I could feel the whole office watching me, some in awe, some in fear, and that's exactly how it needed to be. I wasn't the girl they laughed at in meetings anymore. I wasn't the emotional one. I was the one holding the throne, now. But behind that steel face, I was breaking, because someone else was involved in this betrayal, someone I never expected, someone I loved. Her name was Camille, my best friend since college. She was with me when I burned my hands on the first protein bar batch, slept on my couch when I had no heating, sat beside me when I pitched to 39 investors and got rejected by 38. And now she was sitting in the glass office that once belonged to me, sipping wine with my uncle, like she owned the place. I stood outside the glass, frozen. She saw me, smirked, then raised her glass in the air, like a toast, like a victory. That's when I knew. She was the one who whispered in their ears, pulled the strings, convinced the family to vote me out. She was the one who knew every weak spot in the company, because I had shown her all of them. I walked away quietly, but that night I didn't sleep. I pulled out the backup drive I had stored in my locker. It had every patent, every formula, every future product blueprint. And more importantly, it had digital proof that Camille had been copying our ideas and sending them to another company under a fake name. I smiled, my hands trembling with fire. Next morning, I sent a single email, one file, one recipient, Apex's legal department. By noon, Camille was served with a $30 million lawsuit for intellectual property theft. The moment she stepped out of the elevator, cameras were waiting, reporters were waiting, and I was waiting too. She looked at me with panic in her eyes. You did this? I stepped closer and whispered, You shouldn't have betrayed someone who gave you everything. Her smile cracked, her world collapsed. And just when she thought it couldn't get worse, I dropped the final bomb. You're also under criminal investigation. I hope your wine tastes good in court. Camille's hands were shaking as officers escorted her past the cameras. The woman who once called me sister was now covering her face from flashing lights, drowning in lawsuits, frozen bank accounts and shattered pride. But I didn't stay to watch her crumble. I had one last place to visit, the old factory, where it all started. My dusty little unit behind the bakery, where I made the first 200 protein bars by hand. I stood in the same corner, now upgraded with stainless steel machines and a team of loyal workers, the very people who stayed by my side when my family turned against me. One of them walked up and smiled. Boss, we saw the news. You okay? I nodded, better than ever. Within days, I rebranded, changed the company name, moved operations fully under Apex Nutrition, and every traitor, every single family member who voted me out, received a termination letter. and a lifetime ban from any stake, profit or legal association with the brand. Then came the launch event, a massive press conference streamed globally. I walked on stage in a black suit. No makeup, no gimmicks, just truth and scars. I was betrayed by the people I trusted most, I said. But betrayal doesn't break you, it builds you. The room went silent. Then I revealed the new product line, Isla Plus, and the crowd erupted. Within 48 hours, the product sold out worldwide. The brand valuation doubled, and my phone, 69 missed calls, became 690 missed apologies. From my uncle, from my cousin, from Liam, even from Camille's lawyer. But none of them got a reply, because sometimes silence is the loudest revenge. The end.